Okay, welcome everyone. My name is Gina Philibert Ortega, and as you know, you're students of the National Institute for Genealogical Studies. This is the Student Lounge, and we are honored to have a speaker for Student Lounge today, and that is my good friend Daniel Horowitz from MyHeritage. Now, I know at least one of our staff has done a DNA test with MyHeritage, and maybe some of you guys have too, but this is a great opportunity to learn more. So let me go ahead and give you an introduction to Daniel in case you don't know who he is. Daniel is a genealogy expert at MyHeritage, providing key contributions, liaisoning with genealogy societies, bloggers, and media, as well as lecturing and attending conferences around the world. He's been dedicated to genealogy since 1986. He was the teacher and the study guide editor of the Family History Project, Searching for My Roots in Venezuela, for 15 years. Daniel is involved in several crowdsourced digitization and transcribing projects and holds a board-level position at IGRA, the Israel Genealogy Research Association. I'm sure many of you have seen Daniel at various conferences. I saw him last at NGS, and so he's going to teach us all about MyHeritage DNA. So go ahead, Daniel.
Okay, so thank you very much. Just one correction. No, I'm not going to teach you everything about MyHeritage DNA because you gave me only 40 minutes for this lecture.
That's true. That's
and
true.
I said I was going to speak very fast and I will try to put everything together, but not really everything.
Not everything.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity, really. And the idea, as I'm not joking with Gina, I'm going to talk very fast and I cut a lot of corners here because I want to give you some time at the end to ask the questions, but I will not be responsibly genealogist if I will not tell you that even that you can find many great stories out there for family reunions and adoptees or people who never knew their biological family, finding them now through DNA. We all need to be aware that surprises may come because the DNA will not lie, okay? Paperwork and paper trail and family trees and all that, it's very nice, but DNA is the real deal. My only suggestion is to try to be open-minded and to accept the reality, whatever it is, whenever you do a DNA test. Now, a few words about the MyHeritage platform, because it's actually started as a place to hold and share and build family trees. Together, we have 87 million of those in our system. We also have 18.5 and growing billion historical records in the platform, in the system, and also 5.8 million DNA kits. Now, all those DNA kits are actually being allocated to different genealogy ethnicities and also genetic groups. But more important for our lecture today is that they are also getting matches between themselves. All this available in 42 languages. Now, why all those numbers are important, and you will see it through the length of the presentation, because this means that actually MyHeritage is selling DNA kits almost all over the world. We have people from really all the corners building and interacting and working with this. And both the family trees and the historical records are going to play a very important piece on the DNA matches. Now, MyHeritage started in November 2016. That's a little bit late on the DNA for genealogy world. And yes, our database is not the biggest one out there, but it is quite accurate on the sense that all the people who take a DNA test on MyHeritage or upload a DNA test with MyHeritage can actually are interested in genealogy and will be able to communicate with you. So we have thousands of people buying a DNA kit with MyHeritage, but MyHeritage also allows you to upload your digital results from any other company out there. And if you're looking for a reason why to take a DNA test with MyHeritage, well, remember that we are using a cheek swab, and now after COVID, we all know what is a cheek swab. And the difference is that other companies out there may use a spit system. And because we don't want to have any spit contest here, we don't want you to spit on everybody and anybody. And if you're thinking of taking a DNA test from an elderly person, definitely a cheek swab is more easy to do. Now, we all have 23 pairs of chromosomes, right? This is like biology 101. But for the genealogy part of the DNA, we're taking into account only 22 pairs, meaning that the pair that is dedicated to the gender, the last pair, it's not being taken into account. Now, there is a reason for that, and is that the other 22 pairs, the genders is coming one from the mother and one from the father for sure. The other 22 is a mix of the DNA from all your ancestors, not only your mother's side and not only your father's side. This is what it's called autosomal. And this type of DNA will have, as you see in the screen, very little pieces of up to 10 generations from any of the branches of your ancestors. So you will have pieces of all the ancestors that came before you, no matter what. Now, how much, that is a different story. Because yes, we should all agree that DNA is material that it's inherited from parents to kids, but every kid will have 50% of DNA from each of the parents, meaning that you're receiving 50% from your father, 50% from your mother, and you're giving your kids 50% as well, which means that you have 25% of DNA from your grandparents and 12.5% of your great-grandparents. But as you can probably already realize, every jump you do on your family tree, you're losing 50% of your DNA, which means that you also have 12.5% shared DNA with your first cousin. So it doesn't matter from which part of the tree that first cousin is coming, for sure you should be, and I am going to emphasize this, you should have 12.5%. And this, although it's science, is not exact because multiple factors are in here. And by the end, if you still are not clear, please go ahead and ask me. That is why the symbol before the number. Another thing I would like to point out here as I go and jump through my family tree is that those percentages are also translated into a different number called centimorgans, and you will see that in one more minute. I think it's easier to talk in percentages than in centimorgans, but they are exactly the same. So if all that is clear, then we understand that the quantity of the DNA that we can have from different individuals may not be exactly the same, but it will be a good lead, a very good lead, I will say, to determine the relationship between me and my DNA match. Now, what do you receive with a DNA test, not only in MyHeritage, but in any other company? You receive your ethnicity estimation, meaning where do we think your ancestors were 10 or even more generations back. You also receive the DNA matches. And this, MyHeritage divides it into three groups: the close family, those people that open the mouth for you with the condition that you will not bother them again; the extended family, which are not so close relatives, but with the help of a good family tree, you will be able to find how you are related to the person. And remember that the match can say this is a second cousin, but you have multiple branches with second cousins, so you need to really have a family tree to determine which of the branches and where this second cousin is coming. And then the distant relatives, which of course is the almost rest of the world, because all our DNA are very similar. And the difference, if they are like 1%, you're going to be matching a lot of people here. You will be able to see also the location of your DNA matches, and they are all over the world, and the ethnicity that you are sharing with this person. So if you want to evaluate and understand better where this Irish and Scottish and Welsh DNA is coming from, maybe you should look only to those DNA matches. Now, let's go directly into the matches section on MyHeritage, where you're going to get a few things. You're going to get the theory of family relativity, smart matches between you and the DNA match, ancestral surnames and places that you share in common, the DNA matches that you share, a pedigree chart, the shared ethnicities, and a shared segments. And it will look like this. Yes, so you will have filters on the top part of the matches, and these are there to help you focus on the better matches. And yes, you may have better and worst matches. One way of filtering them, and I'm not going to get bored of saying it, you may get from hearing it, is by having a good family tree there, because then MyHeritage is going to be able to build a theory of family relativity for you, or to show you smart matches or ancestral surnames and places that you may have in common. You also can focus on accordingly to your relative, if you want to see the close ones or the extended ones. And probably the only case where you want to see the close ones is if you're looking for your bio family, for your parents, your bio parents. Locations, ethnicities, even genetic groups that can be as accurate as a city in a country. And if you want to see all the matches that matches you in that city, that will give you also some hints how you are related. And the very last option is the labels. And if you give me 1 minute, I'm going to show you how that works. Another thing that you can do here is just to filter and sort your matches by the amount of DNA that you are sharing with the person. And goes without saying, probably the more the merrier. The more percentages, the more centimorgans, means the closer to the person you are, or even a name, or the most recent ones. And MyHeritage will tell you every week of new matches coming your way, but we will also tag them with a new label over there that you will be able to see only, or first, the most recent matches. Okay, then on the upper right corner of the card, you will see the quality of the match. And here is where you can see the ratio between the percentages and the centimorgans. And this is not exactly either, because in centimorgans, to have, like, for example, 0.5%, you can have between, let's say, 28 and 50 centimorgans. So the 31.6 is an approximate number. And the amount of share segments, or the largest segment, will tell you also how close you are to that match. So this is all information that you should, and it's good to go over. Then according to that, MyHeritage will estimate or guesstimate the relationship that you have with that person. Now, remember the graph that I was showing you before? Well, because all those people could share more or less the same amount of DNA, the match could be between a third cousin, fourth cousin, fifth cousin, or second cousin twice removed, up or down. So how do you know exactly who the person is? Well, you need, again, information on the family tree. You need information about the other person. Because if the other person is around 50s, and I am also already around 50s, then definitely it's not my second cousin. It could be my third, fourth cousin, or third cousin once removed, depending on the family tree and how early in life or late in life people had their kids. But yes, the person that you're matching according to this graph can be in any of those positions. And then the lower part of the card will have more or less information depending on your luck and your family tree. Because if you have a family tree and we have all that information, and the other person also has a family tree and we also have that information, we will be able to give you all this, which means a theory of family relativity, the last names that appears in both family trees, the places that are in both family trees, and other details that I will show you. Now, the idea is that once you start evaluating your matches, you will be able to label them. And for that, you have 100 characters and 36 colors. My suggestion is to start like very easy, kind of paternal and maternal sides of the family. And whenever you pinpoint that you have a grandmother or grandfather included here, then you know that it's a paternal grandfather or grandmother. And in that way, you will be able to leave the labels very clear branches of your family tree. Then you can click on more than one match here and tag or label more than one match if you want. Just remember to apply that so the label will stick. You will also notice that we have a star or a favorite. And the idea for that, the way I use it and I recommend you, is to mark those DNA matches that you're working at the moment. It will be easier to find them through the filter of the labels. And at any time you can edit or delete that label. Just remember that if you delete that, the matches are going to lose their label as well. The last icon here is a balloon that opens a free text area where you can put any notations or any kind of logging or notes that you want, and then the balloon will turn purple, and you can use this also to keep like a count of which matches you have done what. And after you have evaluated the match, I will suggest you to contact not only the admin of the DNA, but if you're lucky enough, the person that gave the DNA, the donor, will allow also their email to be used, and you will be able to contact that person as well. Okay, let me go in deep into this, and I'm going to start by the theory of family relativity, but
Daniel,
if I will, yes.
Your slides aren't moving.
Wow, since when?
Well, at least when you were explaining balloons and stuff like that, it's not moving. It's back on the ethnicity estimate where I think it's the homepage.
Okay. Yes, I'm sorry. You should have to interrupt
Well,
me for that.
it took me a while to figure that out.
Okay. So
Sorry.
this is the labels that you missed, and just for a reference point, I'm going to go back to the filters, which I think it's important for you to see where they are. The filters are right here, okay, in the top, and now you can see them, right, Gina?
Yes, now we can see them. And you know what?
Okay.
Feel free to take your time, Daniel. Don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
No worries. It's just that I missed share my screen. I was sharing a particular image and not my full screen.
Oh, okay.
So that should be fixed now. And yes, I'm gonna just breathe and go over all this with the minimum explanation. Here is the DNA quality match I was talking before, and the information about it. And here is the estimated relationship with the graph that I was referring to my second cousin, twice removed, or my third, fourth, and fifth cousin. And here is the more information that you can see where I mentioned it, the theory of family relativity, also the common names in the family trees, which I will go over it in a minute more in depth, in the places as well. And I was here explaining the labels and how you create them. This is my example of paternal Horowitz, and labeling more than one match at the time, and the star that I mentioned before, which you can find also from the label section, and the deleting a label, or I'm sorry, deleting a label just from here, from the menu of the labels that you get whenever you click on the checkbox on the upper left corner. And then the balloon that I was mentioning, which whenever you click it, it opens the notes area. Then you write whatever you want, and then it turns purple. And here is how you contact people that you match or that are administrating it, the DNA kits. Okay, and I was saying that I'm going to start reviewing that DNA match more in depth. And if I have a theory of family relativity, I can start from there, or I can just click the purple button, review DNA match. So before I go further, I want to explain the theories and where and how they are built. Basically, you remember all those family trees that are built in MyHeritage? And you remember all those billions of records that we have? Well, if we try to connect all of them and to find a path between you and your DNA match, because we have all that information, and because that information at some point may be duplicated, we are going to be able, hopefully, to find not one, but more than one path, and more than one theories that will explain how you are related to the other person. Now, bear in mind that we will not be able to do anything of this if you don't have a good family tree, or at least the good pedigree tree on MyHeritage together with your DNA. Now, this is how we present you with the theory at the beginning. And you can see very clearly that you go up through me just 4 or 5 generations up, and then goes down to Brian Jansen. And this is how I am related. But I am a genealogist. And although this looks very nice, and I worked for MyHeritage, I don't trust it. I want to see every step of the way and where this information is coming from. And MyHeritage understands that and allows me to view the full theory. More than that, remember, I can have more than one theory because the relationships and the family trees may be duplicated at some time. By the way, I may be a third cousin one way and a second cousin in a different way, and that is possible. And also, each one will have more, or may have more than one path. Then, depending on your analysis, you can decide if this is true or not, and you will be able to confirm or reject the theory. That really doesn't do more than label the theory as right or wrong. Whenever it's wrong, we're going to put it aside and show you the next theory whenever we have more than one. Whenever you have only one, we will let you know that you agreed or not to that theory. And the good news is that will also help you clearing up your DNA matches and knowing what you have done or what you have not yet done. So now it's more clear that each segment of this theory is based on a match that can be a smart match, which is people, same individuals in both family trees, or records. And if you click on any of those nodes in the middle, you will be able to actually see the match. You will not be able at this point and here to agree or not to the match. Those are matches that we think are very good and correct ones. And my idea here is to show you also that it doesn't matter where in the world the person is building a family tree, MyHeritage will understand the languages and will bring you those matches, and you will be able to use either Google Translate or a friend to make sure that those names are actually accurate. So it goes up through my family tree until it finds this match with another person. I will be able to go and open and research people in my family tree or in the other person's family tree. I would be able to communicate with this other person who has no idea, maybe, that he's helping me with the theory, but he knows that we have a DNA match for sure. Now, if he has my great-great-grandfather on his tree, definitely I want to speak with him. The next section is a record sample, and in this case, I'm putting here on purpose the exception to the rule, because Genie and Family Search, although they are family trees, we treat them on MyHeritage as records. But from here, it doesn't matter if it's a census, a birth record, or Genie or Family Search, you will be able to view the actual record, and if it's a record, to download it to your website or to your computer and keep it as a track, and so on until you get to the very last person, which is your DNA match. Even if the path or the theory is wrong, believe me, DNA don't lie. This is your relatives. Okay. Now, once you have evaluated or viewed your your theory of family relativity, you can keep scrolling down into this very long page. And the second section that you should see, if you have a family tree and we detected those smart matches, those individuals that are both in your tree and the other person's tree, we will show it here, because this may be Brian's branch matching with me. So it's important for me to go and to evaluate those, but not now. You could go later on and view the pending matches and agree to them if you want. I'm going to keep going down through this page. The next section is the shared surnames, meaning last names that are common to you and your matches family tree. Now, this will work, again, as well as you may have a good family tree there, and very depending on how you are related, because last names normally are passed from fathers to sons, okay? But if I can see all the last names, even the maiden names that women may have in my tree and the other person's tree, I may be able to find which are the last name in common or the ones that ring bells, and maybe that is how we are related. The next section is the shared places. And because we need to think that people didn't travel that far many years ago, if we are all related to the same area, then probably we are related through those individuals. And here you need to take in account one more thing. Borders moved, meaning that I normally put the current place of the event. Because if I want to go there, I will need to buy a flying ticket, a plane ticket, and I need to know to which country I should go. My family said, and they were actually born in Romania, but today it's not Romania anymore. It's Ukraine. So I need to know that I need to fly to Ukraine in order to visit that place. But if the other person records their places according to what it was at the time of the event, we will not find a match, but I can still see here that, oh, maybe Lithuania is not Lithuania today, but I know that I have people today in Lithuania, so I'm pretty sure you already understood my point. Now, the next section is probably the most important of all this. Again, one long page, because this is the shared DNA matches, or in another word, triangulations. You already know that I match Brian, and you can be sure that I match also my mom. What this is showing me is that not only I match my mom, but Brian also matches my mom. Do you see the triangle here between the three of us? So that means that this Brian match is definitely coming from my maternal side. So I can even come here and apply the labels to this match and say, okay, all those matches should be maternal matches. And if I will know Tara, for example, and I find out that Tara is my second cousin through my maternal great-grandmother, I can even tag her as my maternal great-grandmother, and I can pretty sure say that also Brian should come and be labeled as that branch of the family because we are all matching each other. And then you will be able to see also the triangulated segments. I will mention it very briefly in a few minutes, but this will actually open a chromosome browser one-to-many, showing me and Brian and me and Tara DNA, common DNA. So we will be able to identify the segments in the matches. The next section is a comparison between my pedigree and the other person's pedigree, because after all, we're trying to find the elders person that gave both of us our DNA. So again, a good family tree is always useful here. The next one is the shared ethnicities, and the next one, which by the way, I don't think it's crucial for analyzing matches. And the next one is a chromosome browser one-to-many that will show you the different areas of the chromosomes that you're sharing with the other person. Also, of course, the parts that you're not sharing or the parts that we're not even look at them. And then the 22 chromosomes, and you remember 22 pairs because we're not evaluating the third one. At any point in time, you can see the snippets and the centimorgans and the exact information about these areas. Now, remember I said that we have a chromosome browser one-to-many. We also have an auto cluster, and all that is hidden under the DNA tools right there. So the chromosome browser one-to-many will allow you to see a bunch of up to 7 DNA matches all together and try to find out how you are related. The auto cluster will group your DNA matches according to common shared DNA matches, which I show you already. Okay, okay, yes, I see, I know, I got a warning. I don't know why, but okay, now you see it again. And just to clarify why you or others should test DNA? Well, today I can say that it's fun and even inexpensive compared to the first DNA that I did about 10 years ago. Also, if you have a brick wall in your research, DNA will be good or may be good to turn down that wall. Also, if you want to confirm facts and theories in your research, you will be able to do that. But definitely, if you are adopted, if you are looking into your bio family, a DNA for sure will help and will find your family. Okay, so that's it for me today. For now, I will be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. I will suggest you to write down that URL, which is the URL of our frequent asked questions section. Also, Gina, if you can put in the chat, or I can put it, education.myheritage.com is our knowledge base section. Also there, you should be able to find all the answers to your questions. But let's take advantage that we're all here. I don't know if you want to unmute your microphones and just start shooting.
All right, so does anybody have questions? And just so you know, I did put the handout in the chat. If you don't see it, let me know and I'll put it in again. So does anybody have questions for Daniel?
Come on, don't be shy. I know you have questions. Sure.
I have a question, Daniel. So let's say someone tests with MyHeritage. And obviously it is important to have a tree on MyHeritage. Do you need to buy the entire MyHeritage subscription, or can you have a free account?
Okay, good. You want to go to the painful thing right from the beginning.
Right.
You could have everything under a free account. And there are limitations, of course. So what are those limitations? The family tree could not go over 250 individuals. Now, there's always exceptions to the rules, because if you upload a JetCom and you bring like a 50,000 people, they will go up. You will not be able to edit or add more individuals, but they will all be there. There are some features, both on the ethnicity and in the matches, that will be obfuscated. You will not be able to see the full list of your shared DNA matches. You will not be able to see the full list of places and names unless you have a paid account. And let me keep going there. You will need a complete account, which is retail price $310 for 1 year. There's always discounts for all kind of reasons. And I think, Gina, that you have been contacted by our marketing team expert on giving discounts to make sure that this group will also get discounts.
Yes.
But there is also a less expensive option, which is to pay a one-time fee per DNA kit. So if you have 1 or 2 DNA kits, yes, it's worthwhile to pay the $29, I think, for each kit, and then you unlock everything. But if you're going to be the admin of all the DNAs in your family and you're going to have 3 or 4, then it will pay more to have just the complete account and to have all the bells and whistles.
Okay, and then my other question, and then hopefully people will start. There's a lot of fans, so they're all posting in the chat.
I'm seeing in the chat already success stories, which we love to hear.
That's right.
Believe me.
That's right. So my son tested with Ancestry, and so we have all of that. So can we transfer his whatever. See, I'm not a DNA
Digital,
person.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
to
yeah,
MyHeritage.
definitely yes. MyHeritage accepts uploads,
Okay.
not as others out there. And because it's your DNA, that will not change. The ethnicity in the different places with the different companies may change or will change, let's say that better, because each company has a different ruler to measure ethnicities according to the founder's population and the information that we all have. But the DNA is basically the same DNA, so the matches should be also good or the same. You will find out that some of the people you're matching in Ancestry, you are matching in MyHeritage because they also move their family trees or their DNA, so they're just retested their DNA with MyHeritage. And you're going to find as North or D North is saying, you're going to find matches probably with other people from other places in the world, which are testing directly on MyHeritage.
And so Cheryl, to kind of follow up with that, is asking how many uploads can we add?
Unlimited. Okay, no, that's not true. We recently limited the amount of DNAs, but the number is a 3-digit number. Okay, so I dare you to upload more than 100 DNA kits to one account on MyHeritage. Okay,
yeah.
yes, but with recently we put some limits here and there.
And then someone else asked, is there any chance that MyHeritage is going to do a monthly subscription at some point?
Nancy is asking, and the answer is not probably, Nancy. We tested, and I don't think under what scenarios we may still be offering a 6-month subscription, but I totally understand that it may be a lot of money for a one-time payment. Even if we give you the 50 or the 60% off that we normally give when we approach groups or have a very good discount. But no, it's a year's subscription.
Okay. All right. Other questions about MyHeritage DNA? So does the library edition affect DNA results?
Very good question. Not at all. And maybe allow me 1 minute to explain that the library edition is the records of MyHeritage that you can see for free through your local library or the library where you are subscribed and they have access to the records. You will be able to see all the records. You will be able to download records from the library edition, but it is totally independent to your personal account. The library edition doesn't have the top menu where you can go to DNA, to family tree, and to all those individual features. So if you find the theory of family relativity, for example, and you are not paying either the complete or only for the record, you could go then to the library edition and search for that same individual with all the information from the theory, and you could see over there the record without any problem.
Okay, and there's also a question about, I'm guessing that European or Jewish records are particularly good on MyHeritage.
Well, MyHeritage is a global company, but definitely being in Israel and having a lot of Jews working on it, we have our Jewish heart, as I like to say. And yes, not because of that, we are looking for European records, but also from Australia and all over the world. Definitely for Jewish records, yes, we try to put a little bit of emphasis over there.
Okay, and then Joanne asks, why would my DNA suggest a person is related to me on both sides, but paper shows only one side?
Very good, Joanne. And this I will connect to what I said, that 6.3% should be your second cousin, right? Because there is something called endogamy. And not only Jews, believe me, Hawaiian people, I don't know, Mormons, but Mennonites and Mayflower descendants. I mean, those are groups that didn't mix with others just a couple of generations back. So in my personal case, my great-grandparents, they were first cousins. That means that the DNA that I'm getting from a particular branch is more than the one I should be receiving. So the relationship estimate is closer to what it really is. Now, having said that, and not only by endogamy, but by multiple branches of your ancestors living in the same place, maybe two of your ancestors, I don't know, 8 generations back, contribute to your DNA. So you have DNA from both branches, and one match that you may have also may have DNA from those 2 branches, and that is why you may be presented with a theory or information that says that one person is related to you both through your father and through your mother. By the way, again, by my own experience, most of my family is, my paternal family is coming from the same area in Ukraine or North Romania, and I'm having mix-ups with my maternal side and both grandparents showing me the same match all over. And it's because of that, is a recycling of DNA that happened with our ancestors.
All right. Any other
I hope it's clear, Joanne. Yeah.
Any other questions for Daniel?
Question going once.
No.
Okay, so I think Joanne was satisfied with that answer. Maybe trigger 5 more questions in other people's head. Are you sure?
Now's your chance.
Well, and if not, just because it's your Saturday morning, I'm pretty sure you are going to spend the rest of the weekend doing genealogy. Just let me make sure that I have here the URLs where you can find more information, and also webinars or articles, whatever you would like to expand your knowledge, not only on DNA and not only on MyHeritage, but we have a wonderful genealogy course over there that you can go and view and use it totally for free.
Wonderful.
Okay.
All right. And did everybody get the handout? Is there anybody who did not get the handout that I need to post it again?
Definitely, Deborah. Yes, give it a try. And even, let me tell you this trick, even if you pay for it, okay, and we do have a 14-day trial period, but if you use it and you try it and you don't like it, just ask for your money back. Okay, so no, somebody couldn't answer.
So if you couldn't get the handout downloaded, just email me and I'll email it to you.
Christina, do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question? Or you're giving me a high five?
I'll give you a high five. I was just trying to figure out the handout. I don't see where to get it.
It's in the chat.
Oh, okay, thank you.
So scroll up and you should see a PDF and you should be able to download it. If not, I just put my email in the chat and just email me and I'll email it to you.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you, Daniel. That was great. And I think a lot of people feel like that now they can really use their MyHeritage account a little better than before.
Or at least give it a try.
Yeah, absolutely.
With more than pleasure, Gina. Anytime you want.
Wonderful. And Daniel mentioned a discount. We are working on that. So we'll let people know. So
Hold on there.
yeah, hold on. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks, Daniel.
Bye-bye.